like a fracture in it.
Because of the game.
Yeah.
Must be a lot, bacteria. It's infected, so either can take out one root or maybe lose it too. But they can do like a rootectomy. So I don't know.
What is that?
They can take out one of the 3 roots, remove it.
Just one.
That's not gonna be.
That's like surgery.
Yeah. So I don't know, because they can't fit me until August 11th. So I'm gonna
You go
suffer.
to,
I went to, I have to go down here in the village, it's the modern endodontist that they're sending me. Doctor, yeah.
You don't,
River Cone.
there's nothing worse than
It
two
really
pain.
hurts right through my face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm very angry, no, not really.
Well, good for you.
2 months.
Yeah, it's- Did my whole weekend, yes.
Yeah. 7,
All stuff, like when this all started.
we're all here.
I got humans, let's not make it.
All on my classes.
For a month. At least you know where it is.
Yeah. It's not ordered, but
I know.
it's in my box of bank statements.
It started, May 29th.
Right, I remember, like,
Is it respiratory?
No, they give me antibiotics and inhaler.
We're good? All right, ready? Welcome to the July 2026 Village of Fayetteville Planning Board meeting. One item on the agenda. We'll jump right into it. And tell us about where the total project stands, what you've done since.
Hoping, well, did not, I still have the patching left to do. Cause they did the plumbing, so they took out some walls and stuff like that, so the, guys gonna come back and do patching and mudding and then, paint. And the plumber will finish it up and then, hopefully, promise to Mike Jones to, do inspection,
What else outside have you done?
reading, to rid the wall. Yeah, allow, so.
The handicap ramp. But where does that stand as a total?
They still got the handlebar to put in, so he told me that the special order the handlebars, the railing. So it's supposed to come in tomorrow, so they're supposed to install it and then they'll have it inspected by Mr. Mike Jones.
Is there any plans for wrapping or anything else to that?
To the railing? To the ramp,
To all the wood.
well, we'll paint it to the white once the, because it can't be painted until, because it's pressure through the wood that they use, so it can't be painted until next year. So we paint it, next year when it's,
It's supposed to be a composite from what I recall of the minutes.
it says down there, well, went to Mr. Mike Jones, it says, so, I don't know, that's between the contractor and Mr. Mike Jones.
Well, it was between you and us. We discussed it being a product that matches, just lost the term, that was.
I get the plan to the, contractors.
The term?
The materials. which is
Composite.
Yeah, it says, was, it's, of equal value, so that's what they use, so I gave them the plans, so.
You're saying it's gotta sit for a year looking like that, or it can be painted versus just having.
But it was supposed to be the
composite.
same color, engine color.
So, I gave them the plan, so they supposed to go by the plan, so that's what they,
Right, but when you
Yeah.
agree to the plans of the contractor, it should be based on the discussions that are had here.
yes, it was based on the plan, so I don't know, I gave them the plan, so that's what they did.
The plans, but the plan should have been based on the discussions that we had here. Should have been made of that composite material, so it doesn't look like pressure treated wood.
I thought was the one, when I gave you guys the plan was on the plan, so whatever that plan was, I just gave it to the contractor to do.
It would be the building permit.
Yeah.
Plans that, we would have to see what Mike got,
Okay,
it's typically.
Yeah, whatever on the plan, I gave them the plan to do it, so they did what on the plan. Was approved.
I feel like.
Didn't we approve the composite
we did. It
material
was in
and the color?
minutes. It was in the minutes.
In the
of that
minutes.
meeting. So what you did with your plans, that's nice, but from this meeting, that should have been a composite deck. all that material should have been composite. It's an issue that I have outstanding with now, the tonight's application is, it was in the minutes, it was discussed. Now I'm looking at this and you might not all feel the same, but we've requested several times to get a survey that shows the DOT setback. And we didn't get that either.
What the DOT setback that we were discussing for the wall, I removed the wall. Well, but the sign is where the original sign is for 30 years.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it was in the right spot for what that setback is.
Well,
That-
there was
that-
grandfather
Getting
sign,
that served now, it's not really a grandfather,
No,
it's not really
state.
kind of a thing.
but my neighbor next door got a sign and this is, exactly where it was, 4 feet away from the sidewalk. Mine is at least 7 feet away from the sidewalk.
He showed us a survey that showed where that setback was. I might be the only one that feels this way, so I'm gonna open it up, but.
Because it's been there for 30 years, so, but my neighbor, setback cannot be that much of different. If this is 4 feet away from the sidewalk, mine is, mine is 7 feet away from the sidewalk, the setback.
Well, the point is, we don't know.
Exactly, we don't know, we don't know if it was done right the first time, we're all assuming so. Grandfathering is not really a thing.
No, but I'm saying my neighbor, if his setback is only 4 feet away from the sidewalk, mine is 7 feet, mine is right next to his house. We can,
And that all makes sense, but I can't prove that. So we have to approve something that is possibly or possibly not within that DOT setback. That's why we were asking for it. It wasn't just in relation to the stone wall. It was overall, we need to see where that line is.
I'll have to get an updated survey where the setback is for the DOT.
It shows,
The state
my
Department of
opinion, that we need
Transportation,
to have,
cause it's Route 5,
We need
it's a
to see
state
that.
highway. It doesn't even have to do with the village,
right,
it's the states
but I,
say so.
there's other views on that here.
I can go through what I looked at. So there is a survey in there. But there aren't dimensions, there's a survey and there's an architectural plan that I think the architect prepared as a site plan. So what I saw there, the site plan shows the property line in the street. So in between the property line and the street is the right of way. Now, whether or not the DOT right of way, we agree with that. I know that Mike tried to call DOT, but he hasn't gotten an answer. Since there are no dimensions, I scaled off the plan, but the problem is that plan was scanned to me, so I did the best I could. It wasn't the actual plan, it was a copy or a scan. So I came up with, my own scale. And what I found was, the sign setback requirement for the village. It has to be at least 3 feet from the back of the sidewalk. But the sidewalk isn't scaled on the plan. I'm assuming, like you said, it's pretty close. I can't speak to the other applicants' dimension, because you can have any dimension you want off the sidewalk. It just can't be closer than 3, and you have to prove that's where it is.
Mhm.
But there's an inconsistency with the proposal. So the site plan shows, by my scaling, 6.5 feet back from the walkway. That's what I scale.
Mhm.
But the application that you provide us says it's going to be 8 foot from the back of the walk. Either one of those are fine. But we don't know which one you want. You have to tell us. It says 8 foot in the application, so I'm guessing it's 8.
Yeah.
I can't go measure it out there because there's no stake. Like, I can measure from the sidewalk.
There is a stake there.
Where is that?
There's a metal stake between my property and the property to my right, facing from the street. There is a metal stake there that is.
There is one in the ground?
Yes,
Okay. So that, that would require you to just measure, but from my standpoint. You just have to tell us, is it 6.5 feet back or 8 foot back? Because the plan shows one thing, your application shows another. Then the other thing is the sign maximum height is required to be 5 feet in our village.
Mhm.
But what Fast Signs diagram shows is they measure the 5 feet to the top of the sign, not to the top of the post. It would have to be to the top of the post. So it's shown a little bit too tall, so we'd have to,
but that's
address
and the
that.
signs.
Just shrink it down.
Yeah.
to the-
You'll
just
see
stick
it
off.
here, like this is the only way that I could figure out the sign. So he says It's 50.
They
or
have to
50.
go the 3 feet deep,
Yes,
and so that would be the base, and then the 5 feet up to from the ground.
yeah, so 60 inches goes from the ground to the top of the sign
Mhm.
finial. So this is a little, I don't know how big that finial is, if not dimension, but you'd have to agree to this being only 6 feet above grade.
Oh, so you're
Or
talking about
60
including
inches,
that part?
5
It
feet.
has to be including that to be
Yes,
5 feet.
because
Mhm.
it says the sign,
Okay.
which is the whole thing, the sign post.
Right.
So that's one thing. And, other than that, I think, that all the text, they have it right. They have this right, it's the right size. But again, like looking at where it is, see how they dimensioned it from somewhere out in the lawn, 27 feet. I don't know where they're mentioned.
From the street. From the street to the sign. It's
But that's
27.
not where we measure. We must,
Oh, yeah,
we have to
well,
measure, must be 3 foot off the back side of the sidewalk
yes,
toward your
well,
house.
we just
We're
wanna put
great.
in that show how many feet is from the street to that, and then also from the sidewalk I think I put it as the 7 feet. From the sidewalk,
So
from the
here it
street
says.
to the sign is 27 feet.
In the application, see, it says distance from sidewalk, you say 8 feet, but I measure 6.5 feet, and you just said 7 feet, so we just have to figure out how many feet you want, but it could be up to 3 feet up to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
The point you're making though is we know where the sidewalk is.
There
but
is
We
a
have to
state,
have this shown on a plan from the sidewalk to there, and there's every other dimension, but I guess
Mhm.
that's where I'm.
And we
coming
literally
from.
can't approve something in that way.
Right, and it's hard, and if we knew that the right of way was what's shown on the survey, but it's not notated that way and it's not dimensioned. So I'm assuming, like you said, prior to this, people put them in, but how do we, I don't know. So that's what I found.
And
well, we moved the proposal to put it back an extra 3 feet from where I propose right now.
So you're saying 11 feet?
Mhm.
is that too far back though to?
Well, you told me that you don't know what DOT is. I'm saying there's a metal post there that's labeled where the,
That's your property line.
yeah. So there is that there,
But that has nothing to do with the New York State transportation.
It
But-
could.
yeah,
It
but
could, because they can either take up to your property line, or unless there's a supplemental amount that we don't know. But I'm, without the survey saying anything
Yeah.
about it, I'm assuming that's it. So it doesn't matter anyway for the sign. The sign has to be 3 foot back from the walk, but if he's, if we don't know where, on his he can't put it anywhere but on his property also. Right, so it can't be
Yeah.
closer to that, but his property is not closer than 3 feet off the side. So it's kind of tricky just because we don't have a nice clean site survey.
I'm saying that
Yeah.
both property on my side, their sign is shorter than where mine is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense that the DOT goes to them and then would curve around and then go around straight there.
I don't disagree,
Yes.
but if it is within that, we can't prove it. It has nothing to do with whether we will or won't.
That's-
We
so
can't, we don't have the
the
right to do
question
that.
is,
We can't approve something
usually
in
it's-
that right of way.
Mhm.
And we had asked you, I think, 2 different times at this point to get
but
an
it's-
updated survey that shows that.
Mhm.
We can't do it for you, so you need to know where that line is. I can't approve, I can't approve anything in that space.
Sidewalk
We actually don't even have the right to.
distance.
That's the problem that I have, is that I can't say yes to what I can't identify
No.
where it is. We can make the assumption, but we can't,
You think it would?
unless someone can come up with some other way.
So this is the cleanest, what we have, because the survey does not show out into the road, is the architect's drawing. So there, that dash line is his property line, so he's saying there must be a pin right here in this corner in the planting. Technically, from one side of the road to the other, but we're not seeing that. Most surveys will say a 60 foot right away or whatever it is. It's just not on here. I'm assuming that's the right of way line, because it typically would be, and the right of way would be the same, the entire street. If there's, there's a sidewalk, so he's well behind his property line and the sidewalk. It's just, is there any other DOT restriction? Unfortunately, if that surveyor wrote it there, we would know, but he didn't put the street on it. It goes only to the property line right there. See how there's nothing?
Yeah.
Now, usually it would say like street line or right of way. It says only to the point of intersection. That's to North Manlius Street. He's saying, it doesn't say anything about what the right of way is, but Mike was trying to find out what is the right of way.
Don't get a response.
Yeah.
Survey would clear all this up.
Wait, do we have a copy of the survey of the neighbor?
I know. I don't have one on me. You mean the one that just put the sign up?
Yeah,
As I recall, he just showed a photo and that was also a problem, when he
Right.
said he wasn't gonna move it.
yeah.
But I don't know. Mike might have a survey for that one, but I'm not sure. We can't do
Like, the
anything.
village doesn't
We
have,
keep going back,
It's not up to us.
why don't you get an updated survey?
How do we?
Like, you wanna know that anyways, especially in a commercial.
Well, it's just, to me, it's just it's a simple sign there, so. To me, to spend an extra $1,500 on an extra survey is, the money I don't have to spend on. So it's not, I'm not,
Call the DOT and find out what the right of way is on this street. And, see if you can get them to answer you, what is the right of way? There is mapping that'll show it.
But is there a,
is there online?
is it online?
Yeah, no,
They have a lot of information online,
but
but
now the
even
map,
there's stuff that's online. If it likely maps to OnGov, which is a solid 70% correct. Like, I wouldn't trust a lot of what's on there.
oh, really?
Cause if it's, even if it was a 66-foot right of way. Be close, probably, but
And it would not show on any tech maps.
No, it's gonna be on the survey.
Yeah.
That's not a way to find a lot to show that.
So Mike, without Mike here. Ted. This isn't a survey that we're looking at, it's an architect's drawing. I don't even know where he got Genesee Street, because the survey doesn't show it on it.
Yeah.
So he could have done it over an aerial, so. What do you suggest we do if there's no street line or right of way located on? How normally it would say like a 66-foot right of way or street line with 66, then we know. From the center line of East Genesee Street, if there's any. Thing beyond the existing property line that they require, like any.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck with a crapshoot. I will say that the survey map that we have for landlines. That guy's usually pretty particular when he does his maps, and if there's discrepancies.
I think if
Much to
you,
the
if you
sugar
call,
of us attorneys, he loves to show it, but we have to fight over it.
yeah,
The fact that he didn't reflect any discrepancies. Between what he shows as the property line and any other right of way line or street line. My thinking is, that. The right of way line is either at the property line or. Or of it.
so
Yeah.
if he called him, well, I would think he would be able to give him an answer without going into the site, right?
Yeah,
You paid for the survey, didn't you? The landline survey?
the survey was done by the previous owner.
This, like,
But I think you could still call and ask the question.
yeah, it should cost $50
know.
bucks to,
Like the approval.
even have him,
Like.
he doesn't need to research.
No,
Right,
just
okay.
give an email that says what the right of way is on Genesee
Yeah.
Street, and if there's anything beyond the property line that DOT has a right to.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, because the only thing is, I don't have that kind of funds to, because I look online to see how much it's gonna cost to do an update survey. And that's how much they said it was gonna cost, so like I said, I don't have a lot of funds to just, use on $1,500 on the survey. So that's the only reason why I haven't updated the survey, because I don't have any funds right now I'm still have to pay all these contractors, so.
I wouldn't think that it would cost $1,500 for him to put the line across this.
Send an email and say,
Or
what
just send
is
an
the
email.
right of way and is there anything encumbering it? From DOT outside the property line?
Just
Or
speaking to
inside.
John, kind of thinking the same thing. Could be to give him feedback or even possibly an approval contingent upon him proving.
Right.
That location is not within.
Yeah.
There is.
And what is the distance you really want? What's on the application or the 8 feet?
Well, what's on the application?
What you wrote on the
Did
application.
I say
is
8 feet?
8 feet back from the sidewalk.
That's on
Distance
the
from the
application? Yeah.
sidewalk, 8 feet.
Yep.
So that's. We would just disregard the fact of what, because the plan.
Well,
is not to scale.
the original, so I think I put on there, when I measured the original sign is 7 feet from the sidewalk. But I was trying to move it in 1 feet just to, have them compliance any of the setbacks. So that's why I was trying to move it, because, well, no, let me rephrase that. I did not move that because the sign there is 4 feet wide. It's not 3 feet wide. So I measured it, it's 4 feet wide, so that's why I moved, so where it is 7 feet to the sign. So if we're doing it 3 feet, we have to move it into 1 more feet, so that's why it's become 8 feet.
From the closest point of the sidewalk to the closest point to the sign.
From the closest side to the sidewalk to the sign is 7 feet. But because the sign is 4 feet, but the regulation.
I mean, the four, if it's
doesn't matter.
it's an extra foot in the opposite direction, so it's. still
Yeah,
gonna
so
be
that's why I'm moving it towards the property 1 feet, so that's why it become 8 feet.
So Ted, if I were
I mean, you didn't
to
need to
spit
move it
wadding
over,
here,
okay.
a point that is the greater of 8 feet from the sidewalk or not to exceed the DOT setback. So it'd be the closest it could possibly be is 8 feet from the sidewalk. If the DOT setback goes into the property 4 feet, my intention is to say then it's 12 feet from the sidewalk.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So, yeah,
Okay.
So basically you're saying. His application indicates he wants to be.
Wait, you want it-
Back from the sidewalk, we're agreeing to that unless. He finds out that the DOT right away encumbers his property.
And this is contingent upon him proving it to Mike. Not just the phone call, but get a document
Email.
or something
Or something, okay.
So
from DOT or something that proves. Are you comfortable with this?
yeah, and I'll try to catch up with Mike Jones.
I just want to make sure I understand.
Follow up with Colin Pratt that we're.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's 8 feet back from the sidewalk or,
Just a question, is there a standard when they measure from the sidewalk? Is it standard and assumed it's always from the back of the sidewalk?
Yes, it says the closest point to the. It says
The property.
from the back of the sidewalk, which is on your property, it's the back side.
Okay.
all right, so is
That
it,
comes right out of the code.
so is it 8 feet? From
The
the
back.
sidewalk or 8 feet from the DOT line, which could push it to.
No, our
Usually
code says.
line.
our
No,
code
no,
says back.
No, his,
Yeah,
his version, I wanna make sure I understand his proposal. You can read.
so
No, I can't read it. He said it.
point that is greater of 8 feet from the back of the sidewalk. Or. Back of the sidewalk, not to exceed the DOT setback.
So it could still be 8 feet, even if the DOT setback is like 2 feet into the sidewalk. Because it,
I mean for
Yeah.
it to be, well, actually, I'd be okay with that.
because it still would be
It's
out.
still, it's still within our regulation.
And it has to be on the, yeah, it has to be on the.
Okay, so
Yeah.
8 feet would work even
Because
if
if there was a
DOT
bigger
setback
right of-
was like,
yeah.
4 feet past the
Yeah.
sidewalk, it would still be fine. Okay.
I mean, you want it to be well represented as a business
Yeah.
on the road, we just can't risk.
I mean, it's consistent with others. Our problem is we just don't have a site plan showing it, and the site plan doesn't align with the application. That was my,
We can't
Basic
prove it,
issue.
disprove it.
that's right. And it has to be, the sign overall has to be a dimension of 60 inches between the top of the finial and the finished grade.
No, not
Mhm.
that it actually is a problem, but I am curious.
No.
Why black? Why black is a? It's not a problem necessarily, but I'm curious, why black as a color?
Because the house is white and black,
Okay.
so that's why I did the black sign, with the white lettering,
It's
I
pretty.
think a sharp,
I think it's very sharp looking.
so it matches with the house.
No problem. I was just curious.
The other one was supposed to be dark bronze too. The neighbor put up, is that what they did?
They did black and gold.
Yeah.
what else we got on this
What
one?
about the composite question, the wood versus, wood composite, I guess.
That would go
Okay.
toward the C of O, I would think, right? Because you don't have a certificate of occupancy yet.
No,
That would be,
Dad, how can we make sure that that happens? It was supposed to be composite.
Yeah.
It's there. It wasn't caught mid-construction. It's there. So we're here now. How do I make sure that thing ends up the right color?
I can paint it, and then I will.
In a year though, right?
No, I can paint it now, and then in a year if it chips, I'll paint it again.
It's not going to stick. Like, I hate for you, you've worked hard on this.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
not going to stick.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I gave the contractor the plans and they look at the plan and that's what they did, and they went to Mr. Mike Jones. And so,
I get
That's
you.
not what we approved though.
If we were to wrap up this work
that's Mike for. the-
within 6 months, and Mike says everything looks good except for this. Can we do a TCO?
Yep.
Pending that being officially painted, say a year from that,
Yep.
from now. Okay. Okay, can you add that to your Mike Jones discussion list?
Sure.
You can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it in the minutes.
You can have the resolution.
But traditional, so if you're flexibility, there's.
but the TCO,
A temporary.
and then we'll,
And you'd be able to move forward with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
and still open?
Yeah.
And just as long as you paint it, look, I don't want you to have to waste your time. painting
of
it.
course, like I said, we talked to the planner, it says, a plan that it was supposed to be, was it, timber tech or Ovico value? That's what it says on the plan. And you guys approved that, and that, I gave the plan to the contractors,
Timber Tech is a composite.
yeah, or Ovico value, so,
Equal value, is another brand of composite. That's the problem.
that's
It's like
And
2 or 3 times the price.
it is, it's quite a bit more. So we didn't mean an equal value wood, it meant equal value of another manufacturer of a composite like Timber Tech. So if Mike saw that and gave you the building permit, that's because he believed you were gonna do Timber Tech or something equal to it, not wood. So now he has to deal with that. I don't know how he's gonna deal with it. But that's the question you just asked. I don't think he necessarily will say, leave it there and paint it. But I can't speak for him. So,
Is he coming?
not tonight.
Some come up.
There's a lot of buildings that have pressure treated, handicap ramps.
Yeah, but usually the ramp. Framework is pressure treated
Or
and
wrapped.
the timber tack is just on top of it, on the ramp, and on the handrails. But it is pressure treated going into the ground and the structure is.
Yep, yep.
So it doesn't have to be all timber tack. It isn't, it actually can't be because it's not structural. But it's, again, we've had this happen before where there's a breakdown between what we approve and what the building permit
Yeah.
says, but
I just had a guy, contractor come over from my house for steps and he doesn't even recommend composite for stairs and stuff
stepping out,
because it bends.
well, if you're not getting a good composite.
You have to, yeah, and you have to have.
There's many
it's
levels
more
of
underneath.
I mean, you have to design it right underneath.
Yeah,
Design it the same way
but like-
as
put the wood in and put the composite right on top of it.
It's just closer
Yeah.
to get all the joists are closer together, but. Which is why
It can be done.
Well, how much of this, would that cost you anyways?
15,000.
15,000 for the handicap ramp?
For the pressure treated wood.
Oh,
Yeah.
wood's expensive these days.
Yeah.
Well, but they did the post, so the post is cement and then the. The pressure treated was on top of the post, so it's not connected to ground.
Okay,
So you mean, and there's actually an anchor in the concrete that the post
Yes.
goes into.
So it won't rot or anything
Yeah,
like that.
but the anchor is in the concrete, metal
No.
anchor.
There is an anchor that was screwed onto the concrete. So the wood is on top of the concrete,
Right.
so it's not connected to the ground.
But that is a structural member that's attached to the anchor, and that's what we were talking about. Yes, the wood, you have to have the wood in order to have the structure.
Yes.
Anything on top of it could have been a composite.
any other thoughts, Jim? Dale? Chris?
I think that's okay to approve as with all of the conditions.
Yeah, with the conditions.
Shrink the height and subject.
The height has to come down
within
to
right away.
Anybody want to make a motion? Try reading that writing. I'll make a motion,
Okay.
see if we can get through it. Ted, watch me on this. Make a motion to approve the sign permit application with the following contingencies. The applicant proving the location of the DOT right of way to confirm this sign is not going to be placed within it. And it is to be approved a point that is the greater of 8 feet from the sidewalk or not to exceed the DOT setback. Will also be contingent upon the top of the
Video
finial,
of
thank
the
you,
sign.
not to exceed 6 feet from grade.
The 5 feet or 6 feet?
It's 5 feet, 60 inches.
Okay, 60 inches, 5 feet from grade. And with the understanding that until the front handicap ramp structure and decking matches the color of the house or of the structure of the building, there should be only a TCO issued with a final CO upon completion of that work. Anything I missed? Is there a second? Anything to add?
Second.
John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So when I get the DOT setback, who do I give it to?
Yep. Move that to Mike, and then you should be good.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. This is tapping his phone.
Having my foot.
What time do you start?
What else do we have? Is that it? Minutes.
Be time to get my beer or chips and stuff.
No, I didn't have it.
I actually did look at that one.
I did, they were straight.
Okay. Anybody have any?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes, unless anyone has comments.
Second.
Dan, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
No, I mean,
We could have had a rest
on, but no.
We were close to it.
No. I know.
Usually that's when.